In this quick video, we'll go over, once again, how to factor quadratic trinomials where our leading coefficient is greater than 1. So in this quadratic trinomial, we see that our leading coefficient's 3. The method that we'll use here is called the AC method. So our A value is 3 and our C value is 5. So what we'll do off to the side is multiply A times C and we'll get 15. So we need two numbers that are going to multiply to 15 that'll add up to 8. Now I do want to mention too that I looked at this first and I saw that there's no GCF. That is always our first step actually. 3, 8, and 5 have no common factors other than 1, so I can't factor anything out to start. Alright, so we multiplied A times C, and we need two numbers that'll multiply to 15 that add up to 8. Those two numbers are going to be 3 and 5. So what we do now is we rewrite, so the 3x squared comes down and so does the 5. But this 8x in the middle, that actually gets rewritten as the sum of these two values, 3x and 5x. We can write them in either order. So all I did just now was rewrite this trinomial as a four-termed polynomial. I have this little gap here because we're going to do what's called factoring by grouping. So we have this first group here. We want to factor out the GCF. The GCF between these two terms is 3x. So I'll do this group in green. What remains is x plus 1. Then the second group, we'll do in pink, that GCF is a positive 5, and what remains is x plus 1. What's inside your parentheses should be the same. So then at the very end, we factor out what's inside the parentheses, and we write that out front. And then we write what remains. So what remains from this term is 3x, and what remains from this term is a plus 5. Sometimes people look at it and also say, this last line, once you've factored by grouping, you write what's on the inside of the parentheses once, and then the stuff that's on the outside of the parentheses you write once. So this is our final factored form. The way you can check your work is if you were to multiply this back out by distributing the x through and distributing the 1 through, you would get back to our original quadratic trinomial. Let's take a look at another example. All right, we have 8a squared plus 10a minus 12. Here we have another quadratic trinomial, and we actually do have a GCF that we can factor out first. That GCF is 2. So we'll factor a 2 out front, and we'll be left with 4a squared plus 5a minus 6. So now our a, b, and c are 4, 5, and negative 6, respectively. We don't really worry about the 2. The 2 will just go in our final answer out front. So we care about what's in here. All right. We want to use the AC method once again, so we'll multiply A times C, 4 times negative 6, and we'll do that off to the side. That is, we want two numbers that multiply to negative 24 that will add up to 5. All right, let's think about what those two numbers are. They're going to be 8 and negative 3. That means we're going to rewrite this trinomial as 4 terms. So we'll have 4a squared, and the minus 6, those get brought down. Then the 5a is going to be rewritten as a plus 8a and a minus 3a. And then we do our factoring by grouping. So our first group, we can factor out the GCF of 4a, and we're left with a plus 2. In our second group, we see that our first term's negative, so we're going to factor out a negative, and in this case it'll be a minus 3. And then again we're left with a plus 2. Yep. So what's inside here needs to be the same. Make sure that when we multiply the negative 3 through, we get back to here. We took that out correctly. We factored this one correctly. Everything looks good. So the way that we do our final step is we write what was inside the parentheses and we write what was outside the parentheses. And of course, we have that 2 as the GCF from the very start. That needs to be in our final answer. And that is how you factor quadratic trinomials with our leading coefficient greater than 1.